So I get it, right? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Entitled. I really don't like that word, but yeah. That's what people say anyway. We're entitled. We're entitled to our opinions. Okay, everybody has them. We all have them. We all have preferences and opinions and feelings and thoughts and all that good stuff, even though generally opinion is considered the lowest form of knowledge or information. But yeah, we all have preferences, what we do and do not prefer, blah, blah, blah. But every year, are you listening to me? Hector. Hector. Hello. Every year around the holidays, which I love, people start in, right, with this whole, oh God, if I hear Mariah Carey one more time, oh God, why are people starting to decorate for Christmas already? You know, people start in on this shaming, complaining, this whole I hate everything, miserable vibe, right? Okay, I get it. Some people do. And I get it. There are times where we feel that way. You don't have to feel good about the holiday season. They don't, do they, Hector? No, tell them. No, you don't have to feel good about the holiday season. No, you are not obligated to celebrate holidays. You're not obligated to decorate for Christmas, to participate in Halloween, Christmas, 4th of July. None of that stuff. You're not obligated to wear Uggs and scarves and freaking bake cookies and play holiday music. None of that stuff. Even though people who have kids especially typically do some of that. But what my point... Hello? What do you think about all of this? You love the holiday season, don't you? But what my point is oftentimes I think the general population just kind of, mindlessly without thinking. When people are raw, triggered, they've got something going on in their life where they aren't able to enjoy something, where they are having a really hard time in their life, whether it's a death in the family or they lost a job, they're not going to be able to provide Christmas for their family. They're having financial troubles. Honey, listen, I've been there and done all of that. I have walked just about every walk imaginable. I know what that all is about. I know what it's like. But when people are in those moods, they're wounded, they're unhealed, they're hurt, they're raw, they're having troubles. Humans generally do tend to not feel as happy for other people. It takes a certain type of mindfulness to stay aware and not be unhappy for other people, not hate on other people when you're having a bad time in life and they're not. And they are going ahead with their joy, with their decorating, with their, all this whole deal of people referring to things as basic. Remember that shit when girls were wearing Ugg boots and pumpkin spice season and everybody's going to get their pumpkin spice latte or whatever the fuck, and pardon the language, and they're going to wear the boots and they're going to, do all the fun, traditional, trendy things for the holiday season. And people starting immediately shaming that, calling them basic bitches, right? Remember that? I get the whole sentiment behind it, but here's the thing, y'all. Okay? Dude, are you asleep? Hello? Here's the whole thing behind it that people may not think about. I don't think they necessarily do this maliciously, this complaining, shaming, bashing other people who want to enjoy themselves for the holidays, that truly get ecstatic. They look forward to it all year. This is like me. I am one of them. From the moment the end of September starts getting here, I am pumped. I am ready. I feel more alive when the time goes back. When the weather cools down. I live in the South. It's freaking hot. I'm tired all summer. I'm depressed all summer. It's too hot. It's too bright. I don't ever feel rested. But then when fall starts coming, oh boy, it is my absolute favorite time of the year. I'm ready. I'm so pumped. I'm ready to decorate. I'm ready to have the whole house looking and smelling like holiday season, whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I want it magical. I want it big. I want it comfortable. And I want that for my people, my guests, my family, and myself. I always wanted to give that to my children. I never had a lot, but what I didn't have in finances and money, I made up for with heart and spirit and creativity. And I kept it beautiful and comfortable and love to have family gatherings. And just, let me tell you something. There's a reason why I'm like that. And I'm very aware of the psychological fact that kids who grew up in certain ways, dysfunction, neglect, trauma, abandonment, abuse, that didn't have normal family times, their childhood was riddled with addicted, drunken parents and violent, abusive beatings and inconsistent, chaotic days where schedules and routines where they never knew what was going to happen next, which ends up giving them PTSD out the ass. I grew up like that. So typically people who come from an upbringing like that, they do tend to overcompensate when they grow up. Yes, I'm familiar with that. They tend to overcompensate, sometimes in bad ways and sometimes in good ways. They will go all out. And I'm just trying to provide a little bit of perspective for those who kind of mindlessly bash, shame, complain. Oh God, everybody's happy again. Everybody's going to be decorating and so joyous. Let me tell you something. I have decorated. I have gotten up, decorated my house for Christmas or wherever I was living at the time. We moved around quite a bit as my kids got into their teens and a bit older. But when they were growing up, I have gotten up and decorated even after they were grown. Even when it was just my partner and I knew I had family. I knew I had a mother who didn't cook, who didn't do the whole big home thing and making that, the place for everybody to come. She didn't do those things. I knew I had siblings, I had family, a mother, I had grown kids, whatever, partner. I knew that I had people that I wanted them to have a safe, comfortable, enjoyable place to go, to feel some kind of spirit, to feel some kind of holiday season, to feel some kind of connection to family, to feel safe and comfortable and fed, and some sense of magic and wonder and joy, even though it might be fleeting in their lives, because many of them were struggling. Many of them were living in chaos. You know what I'm saying? So just the whole thing of when people mindlessly go about bashing other people's joy, especially around the holidays. They're always saying, hey, check on people, don't push people to celebrate, don't push them to have the holiday cheer, because they may be grieving the loss of somebody, or, there may be something really depressing going on with them around the time of the holidays. It may remind them of all of their loved ones that are gone, or I get that whole perspective too, but there's another perspective, right, Hector? Yeah. There's another perspective that people don't think about, is that there are some of us who, that's the exact reason why we go all out. And it's never, ever that we are forcing it on anyone else. That's where people get confused, see? They often talk like that when they are triggered, when they see other people in their own lane, decorating, singing, baking, having a good time. I guess he's just going to turn his back on me. He's like, I'm sick of you talking. Anyway, I'm not doing my face in the camera for a while, but when they see other people baking, decorating, having a good time, it triggers them. And I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm not saying I don't have empathy and compassion for it. Not at all. But I'm saying when they see other people like that, they automatically say, oh God, don't put that shit on us. Don't try to make us, but nobody is. Nobody's trying to make you do anything. It's just that when people are raw and wounded and they're dealing with something very heavy and painful, oftentimes they're not thinking reasonably and as straightforward as they normally would. They're not thinking as clearly, and it feels to them like the whole world is trying to push something on them because they're seeing it everywhere. And it's very triggering, and I get that. But technically, from the perspective I'm trying to give you guys, nobody's trying to force them to do anything. It's just that we are trying to have the right to be in our own lane and experience our own joy without people coming along and attacking it. And the reason why is because we went without joy for so long. That's why. So for those who mindlessly go about shaming, complaining, bashing, oh God, I wish they would just stop that shit, and hating on other people's joy, their spirit. I'm gonna tell you something. Some people had to try so hard to get that spirit. They have gone through hell to get that spirit. And I used to get up no matter what. When I had kids, when the kids were grown, no matter what or where I was, no matter how bad I was feeling. I've had times in my life where I was literally, broke, betrayed, going through hellacious relationship problems, people passing away right and left, heart ripped out of my fucking chest, having just the most depressing and horrible time. But I knew that my family deserved a holiday, and somebody needed to do it. Now, in recent years, we've all kind of been taking turns and other people are stepping up, and it's been wonderful. But, back in the day, that's always been me. I knew that I had other people. It wasn't about me being a basic bitch. It wasn't about me being some airhead that is inconsiderate and out of touch and doesn't realize that there are so many people suffering around the holidays and depressed and just going around trying to push my glitter on them. It had nothing like that. It was the fact that I myself was fucking suffering also ungodly amounts of brutal pain, and my family has been through hell, all kinds of dysfunction and chaos and addiction and troubles and death and loss. And it's just that everybody I know has been through so much that I've always been one of those people that wanted to try in my own little way to give them some peace, some relief, some kind of magical joy, safety, comfort. And if I could do that through cooking, baking, making my home look magical, safe, comfortable, serving them, bringing them all together and creating something magical, even if it was just for a short time, and pulling up my fucking big girl panties and putting a smile on and being the hostess. And even though my frequency, my heart, my soul might have felt like death at the time, I might have been coming unglued with grief, anger, rage, pain. But if I could reach down and pull that energy up inside me and pull that frequency up so that I had some good energy to give others so that they might experience some relief, a fleeting moment of peace and joy and magical holiday season, then so fucking be it. And see, these are the things that people don't think about. A lot of the masses have a very narrow view on things. They only see things from a very narrow lens, from their own little tiny frame of reference. They they don't really stop to think about all the different scenarios that could be really happening to people, all the different ways that people, different brains are thinking about things, and what their circumstances are like, and why they're doing things the way they are, why they might want to celebrate so badly. And that's another thing. Everybody handles death and dying differently. Everybody handles grief, hardship, struggles, suffering differently. So just like they say, people get depressed around the holidays, people get miserable, you need to check on them, don't push things on them, yada yada. I get that, absolutely. And I've always respected people's space and time. And immediately, I'm very considerate of that. When people do not want to participate, they're not feeling up to it. But they, at the same time, have no right to be so triggered and so angry and so out of control with their emotions that they look around at the entire world and expect us to also shut down our whole entire life, our whole peace, our joy, all of our celebrations and everything, just because they personally are going through something. And I've had to navigate situations like this several different times in my life, where I was living with someone who had lost a child, and every time the holiday seasons came around, I wanted to be very respectful of his grief, his emptiness, his agony that went on for years. And I wanted to have the utmost consideration and respect for how he felt around the holidays. And I didn't want to make him feel hurt or triggered, or like I didn't care, or like I was just being flippant, or any of that. But at the same time, while I felt all of those things very deeply with regard and respect, I had a life to live. I had children. I had family that I cooked for, that, came, that life has to go on for other people, is what I'm saying when we are grieving. That's a part of being emotionally responsible and emotionally mature, is realizing that while we are in so much agony and pain and despair, that we are responsible for that, for those emotions, and the world isn't going to stop for them, and we shouldn't expect it to. That is a part of growing in our emotional maturity, is when we can deal with the most agonizing, brutal pain and grief and suffering and going without, and our egos being destroyed, and we're losing everything, and we don't have what others have, and this, that, and the other, and we've lost people, and whatever the pain or betrayal or suffering, hardship is. When we can go through that, but still look out at the world and be happy for them, still look out at our fellow humans, couples getting married, those of us who have lost our partners, family celebrating success at work and promotions, people buying new houses, people celebrating holidays and doing wonderful things and joy. It takes a lot of fucking work, a lot of emotional maturity, a lot of emotional personal responsibility, mindfulness and awareness, personal and self-awareness, to catch yourself when it's human, we've all done it when we were younger or less emotionally mature, but to catch yourself when you're looking out at other people experiencing joy and hating on them, or catching yourself going, oh man, what are they so fucking happy about? Ugh, I hate that shit. And taking that out on them and putting that energy and vibe across to them, it takes a lot of emotional maturity and growth, mindfulness, not to do that. That is wisdom. That is strength. When you can carry yourself that way, and it ain't easy. Sometimes, when you come from a background of pain, trauma, abuse, brutality, addiction, all kinds of chaos, you've lost people, you've lost, your way of life, you've gone through a lot of hell, it can be difficult. It takes a lot of determination, devotion to yourself, to your own growth, to become that emotionally mature, to where you focus on your stuff and you take responsibility for that, but you don't expect anyone else in the world In fact, you encourage them always to go on with their joy, to go on with their day, to experience their happiness and their success, and wish them well with that. You know, it can take work, but just some insight and perspective things I was thinking about this morning as the holiday season is getting fully underway. We've just gotten over Halloween and we're starting to go into the Thanksgiving season, but some people are already making it the Christmas season. And I'm already seeing people complaining. I just posted a video where this woman was like, "Fuck you, Mariah Carey. We hate your Christmas song." I'm just like, oh God. You know, people are entitled to their opinions. I get that. They are entitled to their preferences, yada, yada, yada. But ain't nobody trying to force that shit on you. Like, you know, it's like, grow up. I mean, it sounds so junior high to me. Like, you know, the angst that we all felt as teenagers? Well, I did. I was one angry fucking kid. I grew up in the streets and running away, and a lot of, you know, abuse and violence at home, and dysfunction, and, you know, yes, I was one angsty, angry fucking teenager. Kid, teenager, young adult. I know what that's all about, and hating on all kinds of stuff, and, you know, but that's what it sounds like when grown-ass adults talk like that and shit on someone else's joy and other things in the world that are meant to bring high frequency, that are meant to bring the world joy. Lights, Christmas, music, celebrations. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it sounds like a bunch of fucking angsty, angry, self-conscious, morbid, or whatever, junior high kids hanging out, pissing on everybody else's parade. I can say that. I know that because I did that. That's just me. Hey, man, that's just my 2 cents. It's just the way I kind of see things. And, you know, maybe some people aren't there yet. That's okay. I'm not saying I'm right by any means. I'm just providing some insight, you know. Hello. Hector, what you doing, baby? You going back to sleepy time, or you want me to take you down to the dog park? You going to be ready in a few minutes? Okay. I'm gonna get your leash in just a minute and take you for a ride in the big yard, because I love you. You ready to say bye-bye to Facebook? We did a video. Say bye-bye to the Facebooks. Okay. Anyway, you guys. That's that. That's just my little 2 cents. I used to do videos all the time. I don't do them much anymore. I do a few on YouTube. Used to post on Facebook all the time, just discussing different topics. I haven't done it in a while. So that came to my mind to just kind of put out there before the holiday season gets underway any farther. And it's like, guys, you know, whatever. Things are so hard for everybody right now. Our country is in complete shambles, okay? It's scary, scary times. And I get it. I'm the fucking queen of it. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction in the family, abuse, trauma, hard living, fighting to overcome, you know, trying to stand my ground and be devoted to my own growth, and losing people, deaths in the family, people gone from our lives, and loved ones gone, and, you know, losing my partner, and just about everything I loved in storage, and just going through all kinds of shit. If anybody knows what it's like being depressed and full of despair and agony and torment and suffering, and could look out at other people and go, fuck y'all, man. I hate y'all's happiness. Fuck y'all. What y'all so... If anybody could be bitter, angry, jealous, envious, nasty, whatever, it could be me. But I'm not. I'm not, and I don't want to be. There's enough of that in the world. And I'll do anything I can to contribute to the collective in a good way. to contribute to increasing the frequency on the planet, because it is even worse now than ever. And so, man, you know, it's all good. You're entitled to your opinions. You don't gotta like shit. You don't have to like Mariah Carey. You don't have to like anything. You can despise the holidays, but don't try to take that from other people. At least get some perspective and think about where they might have come from. How as children or growing up, they may have never even gotten Christmas, or their Christmases might have been destroyed each year by a drunken father who was violent and abusive. You know, a lot of people don't know what it's like to live with alcoholics, to grow up with them, or to live with them, be married to them, whatever. They don't know what kind of chaos ensues with that, what goes on. So, you know, when you look at your fellow humans celebrating and joyous, you just never know. You never know how hard they might have to fight that day just to overcome an anxiety attack, or how long they had been crying the night before or for the last 6 months because their loved one died. And they're just trying to have a little bit of joy today. They're just trying to get their mind off of it, or they're trying to be strong for other members of their family, for children, for siblings, for parents, people they're going to cook for. And, you know, they want to celebrate and make it magical and just step away from the pain for a while. Step away from the shitty attitude a while. Pissing on everybody else's parade. To me, that's some grade school shit, but that's just me. Y'all do you, okay? All right, that's my little 2 cents for today. Happy holidays, everyone. Here we go. Say bye, Hector. I love you, baby. You ready to go? Okay. Bye-bye. We're going to go. All right, I know. You're ready. We're going.